Hi, I'm Will Leach, author of Marketing to Mind States, and this is your Mind State Messenger. In today's world where, estimates show that we're having between 6 and 10,000 messages hitting us every single day, it's really critical that you get your message out. But did you know that telling stories is perhaps the most important way that you can get your story out and become more persuasive and memorable? Well, let's talk about that right now. So first off, leaders who can create and tell good stories have a powerful advantage over those who don't. Why? It's because we are hardwired to understand and feel through story. Generation after generation after generation has been educated and understand the world through story. And it's because of this that we know that now that emotions drive decisions and create memories. And from our earliest days of learning about stories, stories convey emotion. So if you know that emotion drives people's decisions and it helps create these memories, then it's important for you to understand story. Why? Because emotional shortcuts happen when you tell stories. If you tell a good story, you don't have to think through all the rationalizations on the pluses and the minuses on why somebody should take an action. You just build a narrative around somebody who did take an action or did not take an action. We'll get to that in just a second. And you build emotional conflict around that idea. And all of a sudden, wow, story creates something that's more persuasive and impactful on your customers. So you may be wondering, well, how do I do this? How do I start becoming better at telling stories with my business so that my marketing can, get to the next level? Well, there's a lot of great books out there on story and how to articulate great stories. I found an article from Harvard Business Review, and here's what they recommend. First off is know your message. So we have an initial resistance to being sold anything or to being persuaded, right? There's just this initial something's wrong here. So kind of think about how preachers do it. If you've ever been to church, how pastors or your priest handles trying to become persuasive. They don't tell you exactly what to do. What they do is help you understand that there is a message behind the story. So don't think about proof points, think about knowing the message. And when you know the message, that gives somebody to identify with the overall construct of what you're trying to ask them to do. Secondly, find the right example. So sometimes, we try to push a storyline so hard that it doesn't quite fit with the example that we're trying to push. So don't try to force stories. Find a good example. If you're trying to get somebody to think about safety inside your organization, find an example of somebody who did not think about safety and what happened to them when they chose to go a different path. So make sure that your example hits the proof point you want. Third, weave your narrative. So stories have a structure. It depends on which kind of structure you look at, but in general, you're going to find the same structure. You're going to start off your story with some kind of context. Here's the current situation. Here's the character. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to establish the name of the character and what their internal struggle was. Then they're going to go on some sort of a journey, and then there's a conflict. And they either overcame that conflict, which led to good things, or they weren't able to overcome that conflict, which led to bad things. That's generally the story, and that's all stories need to have that with final resolution. So if you start off with context, establish your character, show that there's conflict, and then resolve that conflict, you're going to be in a great place when it comes to you taking a story and influencing your staff or influencing your customers. Next, convey passion. Stories exist because they have passion in it. So find whatever's unique in that story that you can identify with. Hopefully it's your story or it's something you read, and find a way to love it. All great actors do this. They find something in that storyline that they can love, that character that they can love, and that comes out on film, and it'll come out in your marketing as well. Now is the only time you want to support with facts. It's after you establish a story. Now sometimes you want to reconfirm that yes, this story is going to bring some sort of a benefit to your customer or your internal client or your employees. What do? You support with facts on the back end. Don't start with facts and then bring story. The best thing you can do is start with story and then bring in facts. Now, if you want to learn more about this, I found this great book. It's called 7 Stories Every Salesperson Must Tell by Mike Adams. I think it's about 1.5 years old, but it is amazing if you're an entrepreneur out there and you want to understand how to bring story to life to improve the success of your organization. Great book, a lot of behavioral sciences in it, and it's just an easy read. But the idea is that there are 7 stories that if you know these stories, you can improve your business dramatically, because these 7 stories will get you out of almost all situations or get you into good situations. So it's a great book. Ultimately, the strategic use of story in your business is likely the quickest, most powerful way to grow your business using behavioral science. I encourage you to start understanding how to bring story to life in your company so you can take your business to the next level. So if you want to learn more about how behavioral sciences can take your business to the next level, go to mindstategroup.com, where we have various programs and services that can help you use behavioral science to grow your business. And if you really like these Mindstate messengers, you want more of this stuff, we have a Facebook group called the Mindstate Marketing Society. Feel free to join. Next, we have the Mindstate Marketing Hour, which is our live weekly show that is around 11:05 Central Time almost every Thursday. And you can find that on that Facebook page, or just go to my LinkedIn under Will Leach. And we have a YouTube station called the Mindstate Group. Go check that out, subscribe. We have tons of videos out there. We put new videos up there every week to help you take your business to the next level. And lastly, we have a podcast called the Mindstate Marketing Hour. It's a weekly podcast, and you can find that on any major podcast platform, including Apple and Spotify and Stitcher and all the major ones. So I encourage you, check out our resources, and hopefully I will see you soon when you're applying these behavioral sciences to your business to grow. Take care.